You think you know what a luxury wedding looks like? Think again. We're about to dive into a story so wild, so unbelievable, it sounds like it's straight out of a movie. It completely rewrote the rules and honestly left everyone speechless. Let's get into it. Right at the center of this whole thing is a question that just sounds made up. Could you actually have a wedding, not in some fancy ballroom, but inside a custom luxury jet, flying thousands of feet in the air? It started as a rumor, a whisper, but it turned out to be very, very real. So the story doesn't kick off with some big announcement. It starts quietly, with a secret, a mystery that built up an insane amount of suspense long before anyone even showed up. Okay, just imagine you get this in the mail. No address, no venue, just a boarding time and a destination called love. The guests had no idea what was going on. They were confused, they were curious, and probably a little worried it was all some huge, elaborate prank. But they showed up. So when the guests get to this private airport terminal, the atmosphere is just electric. It felt more like a Hollywood movie premiere than a wedding. I mean, cameras were everywhere. You could just feel the tension in the air. This wasn't just a party. It felt like something big was about to be revealed. And the secrecy? Oh, it was dialed up to a whole other level. We're talking serious security and, get this, a total ban on phones. They collected them from everyone. And that detail is so important because it just amplified the mystery. It made everyone think, what on earth kind of wedding needs this much protection? What is really going on here? And then the plane doors opened. All that tension and suspense from the ground just transformed. It turned into pure, absolute awe high up in the sky. The mystery finally gave way to the magic. Just look at this. This wasn't loud, flashy money. This was quiet confidence. It was tasteful. The people who were there said the couple wasn't trying to impress anyone. They were just expressing who they were through this incredible floating palace. As the plane actually took off, something profound happened. The noise of the world literally just fell away beneath them. And this quote from the couple really captures that feeling. They were creating this sacred space, suspended between the earth and the sky, where the only thing that mattered was love. The ceremony itself was so intimate. No drama, no fluff, just two people making a promise to each other at 35,000 feet. And reports say it was so powerful, almost every single guest was moved to tears. And at that moment, you can imagine everyone thinking, okay, this is it. This is the peak. How can you possibly top this? They thought they'd seen the most amazing part of an already unbelievable day. Well, they were wrong. So wrong. The main event hadn't even started. Okay, this is the part of the story where everything just shifts. The wedding celebration was about to become something much, much bigger. And this is where reality itself started to feel like it was bending. The groom took the microphone, the cabin went silent, and he said these words. Guests clapped politely, probably expecting a nice watch or a designer souvenir. They had absolutely no clue what was coming next. And then it began. First, keys to luxury sports cars were handed out. Then, property deeds, not for apartments, for entire buildings. Then came envelopes stuffed with cash and even actual gold bars. It just kept escalating until guests were being made shareholders in companies, and a select few were given a monthly allowance for the rest of their lives. And then, silence. This is such a crucial moment. The sound in that cabin completely changed. The polite clapping and the excited gasps just faded away. All that was left was this stunned, absolute silence. The sheer scale of what was happening was just too much for anyone to process. This one comment from a guest perfectly captures that shift. This stopped being about a wedding. For every single person on that plane, it became a moment of deep personal reflection about wealth, about purpose, and about their own lives. So you have to ask why. Why do all this? This wasn't just about giving away money. This was a statement. It was about teaching a lesson on a global stage. The couple drew this really powerful contrast. They said wealth can be noise, just showing off, temporary, and kind of wasteful. Or it can be legacy, strategic, impactful, and designed to last for generations. They weren't just throwing money around. They were planting it strategically to change lives.
And this really redefines the whole event, doesn't it? The wedding wasn't just celebrating the romantic love between two people. It was a demonstration of a different kind of love, the responsibility you have to use your success to make a positive impact on others.
So what are we supposed to learn from this? Well, their actions give us some powerful lessons. First, this incredible public moment was only possible because of years and years of private hard work that no one ever saw. Second, the point isn't to be jealous of the gifts, but to study the process, the mindset that made it all possible. And finally, they were so intentional about who was in that room. It wasn't random, it was a chosen community.
So, as the plane landed, you'd think the story was over. But it wasn't. In fact, the couple left everyone with one last tantalizing piece of suspense.
The people who walked off that plane were not the same people who boarded it. Yes, many of them were richer financially, but every single one of them was spiritually awakened. Reports from that day described them crying, hugging strangers, people who were just completely and forever changed by what they'd seen.
And here's the final twist. The couple hinted that this was just the beginning. There were still sealed envelopes, still names that hadn't been called. This wasn't the end of their plan. It was just the very public start of it.
And so these are the questions that are still hanging in the air. The couple created a story that's still unfolding, leaving the entire world watching, waiting, and wondering, what are they gonna do next? And ultimately, that's the point. This incredible story turns a question back on all of us. It forces us to think beyond just our own lives. If you had the power to change lives, to rewrite people's stories, what would your legacy be? If you enjoyed this, don't skip. Hit subscribe for more real, honest content that uplifts and empowers. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear the truth. Drop a comment below. We're building something better here. We're building lives.